before we jump in, be sure to hit subscribe and tap the like button so you never miss out on a fresh take or a playful recap. Have you ever watched a show and wondered if the characters are in on the joke or if you're supposed to play along for their sake? And just like that is the kind of sequel where the ride's as important as the destination. Goofy detours and all loyal viewers have laughed at Mr. Big meeting his end on a Peloton, cringed through Miranda's misadventures with Che Diaz, and watched Charlotte and Harry channel their inner undercover agents in a romance worthy of the Americans. The show's charm is in refusing to take itself too seriously. Like Carrie, Queen of Chic, hilariously clattering around her home in stiletto heels even after picking a fight with her neighbor turned potential flame, Duncan Reeves. But in season 3's 7th episode, something odd happens. The show blurs the line between fun and fiction and tries to convince us that Carrie's latest creative venture, a historical novel, isn't just entertaining, but actually, well, genius. And imagine watching a character you love hand over some painfully clunky manuscript to her new love interest. Instead of a polite, nice try, Duncan, who writes actual acclaimed biographies, reacts like she's delivered the next great American novel. And suddenly, every hint that Carrie is a mediocre writer gets swept right under the rug. And the audience is ushered into a world where we're cheering for exceptional prose just because everyone on screen says so. Even when the opening line sounds suspiciously like every writing a class cliche ever written. And Carrie's first interaction with Duncan is tense. And no, not just because she's in high heels, glaring at him. She's mortified who did it. His writing sparkles, well, hers is still wobbling through a first draft. But after a dramatic trip back to Duncan's apartment and an awkward party invite flung his way, she discovers he's actually read her work and offers a glowing review. It's exceptional, he tells her, and exceptional, I don't, at this point, you might wonder if we've all slipped into a parallel universe where awkward metaphors are secretly the ticket to the bestseller list. Maybe Duncan's trying to charm Carrie C. Still, considering he's the type who moves to the world's loudest city just to write about Margaret Thatcher, who knows what's going on in his head? If anything, it makes for a storyline that's as illogical as it is diverting. Wouldn't he have more luck in a peaceful cabin rather than in a city that never sleeps? But let's be charitable and go along with this. Maybe art truly is subjective, and maybe there's hidden brilliance between the lines in Carrie's draft. Let's check out one passage she taps out while vaguely battling distraction, specifically a surprise appearance by some city rats. We get weather as a metaphor, repeated references to the woman, and inner monologues that read more like neglected diary entries than historical fiction. And don't forget the big revelation. It's May 1846. Helpfully hammered home, just in case anyone missed it. You almost expect someone to barge in shouting, "It's the 19th century," in case you weren't sure. So, poetic windows flung open, hopeful horses in the street, and talk of endless opportunity. Um, the metaphors don't always land. The tone slides around, and some closing lines sound suspiciously borrowed from those motivational posters you'd find in a dentist's office rather than a 19th century parlor. Is it really worth triple checking every line? Um, Probably not. Uh, and some will say that the novel's just there as a device, reflecting Carrie's ups and downs, more than telling the story of its own characters. Um, if the writing misses the mark, maybe that's the point, or maybe it just gives us something hilarious to overanalyze before moving on to more pressing matters. And either way, as Carrie clings to vague ideas of truth and authenticity, usually while hugging her cat, there's really only one thing we can be sure of. Nobody's nominating Carrie Bradshaw for a Pulitzer anytime soon. Hey, at least cats can't read. They prefer stories told with a laser pointer. And with that said, thanks for watching. And until next time, maybe we actually have no